It has been said before on this channel that Australia is a vast country, and although as much as 85% of the Australian population lives near to the coast, there remains a group of approximately 3.5 million people who call the rural inland of Australia home. Connecting the country together, of course, is Australia's expansive network of highways, a diverse network consisting of 10-lane motorways, deeply corrugated dirt tracks, and every kind of road in between, a network that keeps Australia moving. Today's video is about something quite niche, however, it is also about something that is needlessly complicated and quite easily fixed. Can you guess what it is?
You guys know what I'm talking about?
These 4 roads in the city of Brisbane show off the topic of this video. Each one of them is represented by a different kind of route designation. Nationwide, there are 6 different route designation types, and yet here we find 4 of them together, all in the one suburb, let alone the one city, let alone the one state. Queensland is like a kid in a candy store with route designations, using all 6. While other states and territories have standardised to a much smaller number of route designation, even then, they are not always consistent between one another. This, of course, leads to inconsistency. For example, one of the inland routes between northern New South Wales and Brisbane is the Summerland Way and Mount Lindesay Highway route, via Casino, Kyogle and Beaudesert. In New South Wales, the route carries the B91 designation, and in Queensland it carries the National Route 13 shield, until its terminus in Brisbane's southern suburbs, as shown earlier in the video. However, even when the same type of designation is used, inconsistency can arise, such as with the A79-B79 corridor from Victoria into New South Wales, or the B71-A71 and B55 to A55 corridors from New South Wales crossing into Queensland. While only Western Australia and the Northern Territory do not implement the alphanumeric road numbering scheme in some form or another, it is used in the rest of the country. Even then, the extent to which it is used and applied varies between states and territories greatly. Queensland uses only M and A alphanumeric routes for motorways and primary highways. New South Wales and the Australian Capital Territory both incorporate B-level routes, which are less significant highways, often linking population centres but aren't the primary through route for a region. New South Wales also incorporates a unique D-level designation for detours, however only 2 D-level routes are assigned. Victoria and Tasmania incorporate C-level routes, which link smaller settlements and towns to the rest of the major road network, where numbering would assist with navigation. South Australia implements M, A and B routes widely, with C routes only being continuations of those crossing the border from Victoria. South Australia also implements the only R-level route in the country, the R1 City Ring Route, a collection of major roads previously signposted as A21 in and around the Adelaide city centre. Australia introduced its first route numbering system with the black-on-white national route and white-on-blue state route shields in 1955 to assist in the navigation of Australia's road network. National route shields were assigned on a national level, and generally with odd numbers running north-south and even numbers running east-west, with the exception of Highway 1, which circumnavigates the country. State routes were assigned by states, and so state routes were and are not unique nationwide. In 1974, the federal government took over responsibility for the funding of Australia's most important highway connections. These nationally funded roads received their own distinct gold-on-green shields. With the exception of Tasmania, which adopted its alphanumeric system in 1979, the route shield system was consistent across the entire nation until the 1990s, when Victoria and South Australia began to introduce their alphanumeric systems. In 2013, New South Wales and the ACT switched to the alphanumeric system, leaving the nation in a discordant state it finds itself today. With Western Australia and the Northern Territory using the original shield system, South Australia and New South Wales, the Capital Territory and Tasmania using exclusively the alphanumeric system, Victoria using an alphanumeric system supplemented with state route shields within the Melbourne metropolitan area, and finally the disastrously undecided state of Queensland using everything they can, it's clear to see how much of a mess Australia's highways are when it comes to their designations. The solution is of course quite simple. Mandate the adoption of a national alphanumeric route numbering scheme. This solution of course requires cooperation and collaboration between states to ensure consistency across borders and around the nation, but would greatly simplify the navigation of Australia's vast highway network. There is simply no reason for something so simple to be so complicated. Well, there is one primary reason: money. The main roads departments of the Western Australian and Northern Territory governments have said they will not redesignate roads without further road funding, and with their stating they will not redesignate the remaining 2 metro routes within Brisbane, Queensland's main roads department appears similarly unlikely to invest in rationalising the route numbering used around the state. Is this a relatively minor thing? Sure. Is it a pedant's worst nightmare? Could be. Should you leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the video? Absolutely. And quickly, before the video comes to an end, I'd like to give a quick shout out to all the new subscribers to the channel. It has performed tremendously well during this unplanned break from the channel that I've been forced to take, and I just wanted to acknowledge that. Thank you all so much for watching.
You guys know what I'm talking about?